So what are doublers? Doublers have other names, but they're all pretty much the same. Typically, they're pieces of metal that fit on the end of the spar where the spar connects to the fuselage. Since spars are normally very thin, having them support the entire weight of the aircraft against the lift for the aircraft would be dangerous. The doublers provide a dispersion of those forces across the top and bottom of the spar's thinner metal. Doublers are thicker than the spar, sometimes 2 to 4 times thicker, and can easily support the forces that act against the spar. Both the front and rear spar have doublers on them. Check your doublers. They may be different sizes. If they are, match them up as best you can. I found 4 out of the 8 of my doublers were different in size. I used 2 large for the top rear spar, the next 2 that weren't quite as large for the top front spar, and the others which are all about the same size for the bottom of each spar. You'll quickly find that the doublers don't fit on the end of the spars. This is normal and it's part of the build process. Notice that on the left of this doubler, the top cap of my carbon fiber ribs don't allow the doubler to slide against the rib. I've marked this with a pencil where the top cap ends and it clears the area that I need to be able to slide under it. I got the line going up to the top of the doubler by flipping the doubler around on top of the spar and drawing a line down to where the line is for the top cap. I know that's confusing, but you can see where it's at. I'll need to cut this out of the doubler so it'll fit against the rib, and the opposite end would be equal to the end of the spar so it doesn't hang over like it looks like now. There's another way to figure out what needs to be cut. You saw the lower horizontal line. Well, slide the doubler down below the top cap and put a mark where the top cap is. Draw up from the horizontal line, and what you get is the area that'll need to be cut out. Here's the cut doubler. I nicked it, as you can see, and try not to do that. It'll work fine, but you can see the area I cut out. Now it slides under the top cap of the rib and meets up with the front of the rib pretty well. By the way, location of these doublers should be around center of the doubler. This works fine for the front doublers. For the back ones, you can slide the doubler further forward, leaving more of the doubler on the plane. You'll see what I'm talking about here shortly. Now that I have the doubler where it needs to be, I've got to put a hole through it. Remember, we just covered the wing retaining hole that the 5/16 retaining pin goes through. Center your doubler, take a stubby pencil, and draw a circle through the 5/16 inch hole in the spar. This marks on the inside of the doubler where you have to drill. If you wish, use a punch to put a dent into the center of the circle. This will help guide the drill bit to get the hole started. Don't worry if after you drill the hole that it isn't exact and perfectly in the right place. Normally a little reaming is needed, so no big deal. Drill the hole. You should have something similar to this when done. Now we're going to put 4 number 30 drill bit rivet holes in the doubler. I didn't do any measuring. I just picked a point and hit it with the punch. Notice the right 2 punch marks are much closer to the edge of the doubler than the left side punch marks are. This is because on the top left side we've taken a chunk out of the doubler. The lower left side is further away from the edge. This is because the top cap on the rib gets in the way of my rivet gun. I can't move the rivet hole closer to the left because my rivet gun will be blocked by the top cap of the rib, so the hole had to be moved further right. Don't worry, it all works out, and remember, epoxy is going to be all over the back side of these doublers. It ain't going nowhere once in place. Drill these 4 holes with the number 30 drill bit. Now try the doubler on for size. Put the retaining pin in. Ream out the hole if needed so the pin will fit through. Now drill one of the rivet holes through the spar. I used the doubler as my guide with the retaining pin in place. I drilled one top hole, put a calico in it, and drilled the exact opposite hole and put a calico in it as well. Then I drilled the last 2 holes. Get your rivet gun, kneaded rivets, acetone, and paper towel for cleanup. Remove the doubler from the spar. Epoxy the back of the doubler and put it back on the spar using the retaining pin to guide it in. Put in one calico to ensure alignment and rivet one hole. Remove the calico and rivet that hole. Finish the last 2 holes with rivets. Remove the retaining pin and use the acetone to clean up the retaining pin, the calico, and wipe up any mess that the epoxy causes on the spar. Use any extra epoxy to fill gaps between the doubler and the rib. It's messy stuff, so expect it to go everywhere. As a suggestion, I put my calicos into a closed jar and covered them with acetone. In the morning, I took them out. The acetone had dissolved all the epoxy off of them. I'm not going to cover doing the bottom doubler. It's the exact same process, but easier. There are no ribs or other obstacles to get in the way. Doing the back spar, top and bottom doubler are also almost exactly the same as the front spar. The difference is that part of the top doubler may need to be cut out so the wings can fold. Remember in the previous video, cutting of the spar was needed to allow the wings to properly fold back? The same must be done for the top rear spar doublers. But if you've already got the spars cut so your wings do fold, your spar is the guide as to how much to cut away from the doubler. And I actually cut mine after I had mounted them on. I just used the spar as my guide. I normally don't cover this, but in the next video, I'll be installing the trailing edge and flaperon mounts on the wings. I'm actually enjoying doing this, most likely because I'm really close to having all the large parts installed. I hope you've enjoyed these videos, and as always, if you have questions, please get on the Badland forum and ask away. Thanks a lot. Bye.